So here it is. These young Israelite men during the time of Daniel said, they were pointed out amongst the magistrates, amongst the councils as men who didn't respect the God of the Persians. They wouldn't bow to a golden idol. Read.
There are certain Jews, verse 12, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Come on.
Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
Come on.
Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true?
Is it true?
O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego,
Read.
do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made, well. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast in that same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?
Who is the God that's going to deliver you out of my hands? Now, to the pagans that were nothing, like, listen, I'm not asking you to sacrifice your children, but at least acknowledge the God I respect. At least bow to it before the people. To show solidarity amongst who? The congregations of the earth, that we are in alliance, that we have an alliance and a mutual respect. Let me tell you, if this was Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton proposition with that same proposition, they would have did backflips and did a split and then bowed to the golden statue. They would have went straight doing the back handsprings and wiggling and everything, and they did a split and then went right down right there. These are true prophets here, right? He says, at least acknowledge my God. Read.
Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar,
come on.
We are not careful to answer thee in this manner. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Look at that. So what I'm saying here, when I talk about us living in a pagan world, it's not about compromise. Okay? It's not about compromise. It's not, when I say something about what people are dealing with and what's being subservient, it's not to a degree where now we must be the one carving the hand. Okay? And holding hands. Nah. It's talking about walking with wisdom in a pagan world. There is a line that cannot be crossed. Okay? We will not become enablers of paganism, and we will not become what? Servants to the God that pagans, whom pagans serve. And here's the example. See? Come on.
19. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Come on.
Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated.
So they heated the furnace 7 times the heat than normal. They put more wood under there because they says, listen, we'll prove to you that our God is the God. If something happened to us, then it's the will of the Most High, we'll die. But if our God is the true God, we will live as a witness before you through the fire, through the persecution. And a lot of our people have lost that courage, have lost that spirit. Okay? That spirit to do what? That spirit to die before dishonor. Oh man, how many times I heard on the street preaching and all that. And I'm sitting there just teaching the truth. And one guy come after I step down, another guy come up. You have this guy come next to you. I don't know if you heard this one, Elder Lawyer, but I've dealt with it many days. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm gonna tell you, man, there's people watching you, Gocc, and man, you know some of the stuff you saying, man, could be dangerous. Mm. You know some of the stuff you saying could be dangerous, man. I'm like, so what are you saying? I shouldn't say it? Well, no, it's true. I'm just saying. We're the only people who have to caution others when it comes to expounding truth and knowledge. I've never seen a white person. Now, one of the most controversial true speakers as a philosopher today is who? Jordan Peterson. That's his name, Jordan Peterson, right? Mm-hmm. And I've never seen other white people say, man, the stuff you dropping, man, you better stop talking about that, or it may mean your life. How many times I'm teaching and man, what you saying is true, man. Man, I'm gonna tell you, man, you better watch what you say, man. There's people watching. I'm like, where's your courage? I'm not saying anything disrespectful. I'm just letting people know that the God of Israel is real and that we've been lied to. And that we should stand in honor for our people, for our truth, which is the Bible. Oh, I don't know, man. Man, listen, man, that's just too much stuff, man. I don't know if I can deal with all that. I'm like, listen, brother. I'm glad Christ didn't think like you. I'm glad that there was someone that was in high regard, who was willing to sacrifice his life. I'm glad he didn't think like you. Because if we don't do it as men, who's going to do it? If we are afraid to stand up and tell our people the truth, who's going to do it? Let's read.
Yes, sir. Verse number 20. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
Come on.
Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
They were cast into the furnace. Come on.
Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace was exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew some of those men that took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah.
And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire?
Come on.
They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire.
I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire. Folks, there was 3 there. And when they looked in, they said, I see 4 walking in the midst of the fire. Read.
And they have no hurt.
And nothing is happening to them. They're relaxing in the midst of the fire. There's no hurt, no nothing. Read.
And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God.
And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. That's right. Christ walked in from the heavens through a gate into the furnace and made a cool pocket where all of them were just walking around. And the fire was just strolling amongst them. And see, Christ was able to do so because why? Even in the heavens is called the stones of fire, where fire, ice, water, all of that operate and coexist without interference one of another. It's called the stones of fire, where the heavenly angels are, and it's a tessellated floor like a checkered floor. Every other space is fire. These are angels. A tessellated floor from the heavens. And the Freemasons try to mimic that with their Freemason temples with checkered floors to mimic the Holy of Holies. I went into that in the academy. So where Christ was from, it's the Most High himself sits on a throne of fire. So what's fire going to do to Christ? So Christ came amongst the three, commanded the fire to stave off. And guess what? The men were walking in the midst of the furnace in a cool space. Totally cool. It's like a breath of fresh air in the midst of a furnace. Now, folks, this is not just biblical history. This is also in Persian history. See, the Persians have this history of these same men. For all of you who claiming that the Bible makes stuff up. Finish reading.
26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose body the fire had no power.
The fire had no power. And folks, when Christ returned, we're going through the fire. That's going to be the last purge. The change is going to be going through the fire again. Where he purged the threshing floor. And those who will be changed will be changed. And those who are not right will be burned. It's going to happen on the earth will become that oven. See? The earth will become that oven. See? Read.
Nor was an hair of their head singed.
Come on.
Neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him.
Who have sent his what?
Who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God.
So Christ was sent as a power, an angel to protect the righteous. Straight from the heavenly throne. Christ says he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. See, and what the pagans have done, they've begun to reprogram us from birth to believe in the lesser gods, opposed to the power structure that was put in place to set us free, starting with the Son of Man, Christ. So Christ was born in a pagan world. It was prophesied that he would be born in this kingdom, the Roman kingdom, the beginning of it. So even Christ directed us. He said, well, listen, when he came on earth with all that power, he would teach Israelites how to walk and navigate in a what? Pagan world. Here's the wisdom, New Testament. Elder Lawyer, Matthew 10:16. Matthew 10 and 16.
St. Matthew chapter 10, verse number 16.
Read.
Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves.
I send you forth as sheep amongst the wolves. Read.
Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves.
Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So understand the wisdom that I'm giving you will shake the earth. We can't operate with this wisdom as like everyone can receive it openly. Okay? And that everyone will rejoice and appreciate this as we do. It don't work that way. You have to know who you're talking with and what's going to come. What is the reaction that you'll receive from what? That interaction. He told the disciples, I send you out as sheep among wolves. The pagans will rip you apart. Be ye wise. You must have wisdom with this knowledge I've given you. Because what I've given you is the keys to the kingdom. That's the positive. Now, here's the negative that can come back on you. The blowback is that part of these keys is when you're teaching, when you're doing this, you are actually tearing down the empire you're living in. You're disrupting the king. You are disrupting the king of this world. So I'm going to send you out as sheep among wolves. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You will have power. You will do everything. You will do great things in this earth, but you must navigate through the wisdom of knowing the possibilities that come with what? Pagans opposing you. You're up against sodomites. You're up against sorcerers. You're up against astrologers. You're up against the evildoers of this world who are consciously doing evil, who are in power positions. Okay? You're not to be scared of them, but you must have wisdom amongst them. Right? Now, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Now, by the time